starting, and we're going.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Shelf Examination Podcast, where we examine items found on the shelves of our local library.
My name's Joe. I'm the makerspace guy at the libraries in Southern Utah.
And my name is Sarah, and I'm a reference librarian at one of the branches here at the libraries in Southern Utah, and a guru of geeky things.
And which is perfect because what are we doing, Sarah? We are still in the middle of our we're nearing the end.
Yeah, we're more than halfway. We're down the downhill slope of our Kaiju review.
Looking at the list, we still have the other three: Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. King Kong, and Godzilla X King Kong. You know I have opinions about those two movies, but then we also have Godzilla -1, and then one other movie, Pacific Rim Uprising. Which I know that you are so looking forward to.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't have to worry about that today. But that's all that we have left.
Yep.
I think we're in the home stretch here.
Yes, we're getting close to the end of our Kaiju review.
In uploading videos, I realized, Sarah, I had made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Oh, no.
I have been working on another series of podcast episodes where I interview librarians on the terrible things that they have had Tales from the Trenches. And I think in the process of your episode and an episode with another librarian, as I was gathering the information, I somehow completely misplaced our discussion of the first Godzilla movie from, 2004?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I entirely misplaced our discussion about Godzilla 2004.
We'll revisit.
We could re-record that entire episode and have a different discussion about it, but let's just recap really fast here.
Right.
What was your biggest takeaway from our discussion about Godzilla 2004?
Now, this is the first American one, right?
This is the first American,
okay.
the Hollywood American one.
So,
let them fight.
Let them fight.
Yes.
You know what? It had an amazing cast.
It had an amazing cast.
And they had Ken Watanabe, who is one of my favorite Japanese actors.
I think one of my favorite parts of that discussion was because that was such a good
The sound effect was back!
They brought the sound effect in.
And they said it was atomic breath. We're like, thank you. And we were really happy with what happened to it because, you know, it was real iffy as to whether or not Toho would give America another chance after what happened with Zilla. Because while Zilla did okay, it was not
it did well
Godzilla.
Enough to get a series, but yeah. And then the Godzilla 2004 came out, and it was good. Yeah, both of us really enjoyed that movie.
It did well in the box offices, which surprised a lot of people. I wasn't going to go see it, and finally was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for something that gets squished. So my husband and I went and saw it, had a great time.
Part of that movie that I really, really enjoyed, one thing that I think that they did really well was reveals.
Yes.
Several times throughout that movie.
Godzilla had the best reveal.
Godzilla had some fantastic reveals, but the Mutos had some great reveals as well. And I don't like the Mutos.
We don't like the Mutos. We don't like the name, Mutos.
The reveals were good. At one point, we're on the train tracks and the lights start lighting up. Bonk, 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 Muto.
Yeah.
And it was really
awesome.
good build up. Another one there in Las Vegas, and we're looking at the footage on a TV screen, and then the roof gets ripped off, and we see like a close up of what we were just seeing on the screen. Like great reveal.
There were a few things that we were like, why? Like, why did they move the Mutos to some place that has even more radioactivity?
Well, again,
this is a great idea.
They didn't realize that they were feeding it at the time. It was just something we found at the nuclear site. I agree. It's the other stupid thing is, how did they not recognize that it had ripped off the back of a freaking mountain? Like nobody was like, "What was that sound?"
Shouldn't we be concerned about
this? Sounds like an avalanche.
Yeah, shouldn't we be concerned?
Yeah,
yeah. There was a few things that were very plot convenience, but it's a giant monster movie.
It was also a good reveal.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant.
Because they opened up the window and nope, not there, and open up the window, nope, not, and then they open up the window and it's sunlight, and they open it up and the whole back of the mountain's gone.
Yeah,
good reveal. Stupid premise, but good reveal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it was still fun. I mean, there was a lot of Hollywood science to it, but you know what? We've been made immune to Hollywood science. I mean, come on, think of the second Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, where the sunlight comes from the bottom of the pyramid up.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, it doesn't work that way.
I love those movies, but I gotta agree.
At the time I was watching it, I was completely involved with it and totally accepted it. I did like the movie. I was entertained. It was a good time. The cast was fantastic.
And it started
and there's lots
the
of
Monsterverse.
memes. Yes, it made the Monsterverse possible.
Yes, it did. And so that's our recap.
And also the thing we need to remember is it introduces the government entity of Monarch.
Yes, we get introduced,
which is important because it goes through the rest of the MonsterVerse.
It's the one unifying factor through it, and we get to see Monarch come back. This is Monarch's second movie.
Yes,
King Kong Skull Island. No, this was called Kong Skull Island.
You can't call it King Kong.
Can't call it King. Well, they now, but at the time they couldn't call it that because of
copyright issues,
stuff like that.
And they wanted to establish that this isn't the King Kong that goes to New York and gets killed and all that jazz.
Right. So yes, today we are discussing Kong Skull Island, which came out in 2017. It had a great cast.
Oh, and an amazing cast. I wrote it down.
I feel like they just tapped the Marvel movies.
Oh my gosh, right?
You know?
It's kind of like Marvel tapped Lord of Rings, and then these guys tapped, MonsterVerse tapped Marvel.
Yeah.
Because, Samuel L. Jackson plays the human big bad evil guy, Lieutenant Colonel Preston Packard. And then Tom Hiddleston plays Handsome Man.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston's Handsome Man.
James Conrad.
Yes.
And then you had Brie Larson, who hadn't yet joined the Marvelverse at this point.
No, she hadn't yet, but she was going to.
She was the pretty lady character. Mason Weaver, the anti-war journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how they set it in history. In different points in history. It was really an interesting way to introduce the characters.
Right. And then there was also John Goodman.
Yes. John Goodman,
who
was the head
of Monarch.
Well, he wasn't completely the head of Monarch. He was the head of this particular...
He was kind of the face of Monarch.
He was the face of Monarch.
And at the beginning of this movie, it's kind of established that Monarch is on its back heel, that they're running out of funding and stuff like that. Because
there's not really anything that's happened.
He needs a win. He needs a monster to justify
to prove that they're
Monarch
needed
to exist.
So,
and then the other character in this movie
is Houston Brooks, who actually is seen, an older version of this character is seen in Godzilla. He's a member of Monarch. He's the scientist who...
the black scientist?
But played by Corey Hawkins. He's the one that wants to do he's the one that wants to do all the explosions so he can prove that his theory.
Okay. I was thinking, Corey Hawkins. Yeah.
He wants to prove his theory of the Hollow Earth.
And there are hints of Hollow Earth in this one, and I love that they hinted at it and then didn't say anything else about it, other than this is where the main baddie monster is coming up from, the skull crawlers or whatever the heck. And John C. Reilly.
Yes.
Now, I love, first of all, I think
John
C. Reilly.
His character.
I love John. John C. Reilly is another character that I don't believe can do any wrong.
I mean, he plays the most villainous character sometimes, and he's still brilliant. He's great. You buy into his villainy.
And in this movie, he plays the nicest guy.
Oh, the sweetest guy.
The sweetest guy.
I mean, because it starts in World War II, which is not where the movie is set. But it begins in World War II, where you have a dogfight in the South Pacific, and it mutually assured destruction. They shoot each other down.
Right.
And you end up with the American pilot and the Japanese pilot duking it out on the beach.
And
then they have a reveal of the giant ape.
I have a question, though. Did Japanese pilots often carry swords?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? That gets rid of the first bullet point on my list of, does this make any sense?
No, most of them carried swords.
No, what I think is funny is that when we see John C. Reilly's character again, he's got the sword because the Japanese pilot has passed away in the
They became friends.
They became friends, and he passed away. And John C. Reilly has the sword. And this sword serves one purpose, and one purpose only in the movie. It is used twice, and it is used to make the scene 10% cooler.
Yeah. It's the cool factor.
He says something cool, and then the sword goes chink, and it's 10% cooler, and they did not overuse it.
Yes, fortunately.
But why are we giving the sword to John C. Reilly? John C. Reilly, playing the nicest guy in the world, gets the make things 10% cooler sword.
Yep.
This sword needed to be in hands of Samuel Jackson. But Samuel Jackson was playing the bad guy in this one.
No, we wouldn't want that. But I believe it because, they would give the pilots swords as a show of honor. And, so you are the samurai going out into the world to defend the honor of our country.
Okay.
So that's why they would award the
I mean,
it's one of the reasons.
It's practical in case you get shot down. So there
you go. But it's also, a sign of friendship of I see the honor of you. So it makes sense that he has it, and even though he's the world's nicest guy. And it's because he's the world's nicest guy that they became friends.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I liked that they started with the World War II, and it was a cool giant ape reveal. We broke up the fight. Yeah. We are more scared of you than each other. So so then we get to, quote unquote modern day, which isn't modern day. It's toward the end of the Vietnam War.
Yeah, they were pulling out of the Vietnam War, and Samuel Jackson's character was he couldn't leave it on the battlefield. Yeah, he couldn't leave it on the battlefield. He was a fighter and he needed a war to fight. And so when he gets the opportunity to accompany Monarch to this uncharted island. Now, I do think it's funny. Every time we see this island, every time they showed the satellite photo of the island, it looked like a skull. Because it's skull-like. In fact, it looked like a monkey skull.
It did.
Isn't it lucky that skull was oriented on the north-south? Because if it had been oriented sideways or something,
It's so convenient,
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this.
It's one of those moments that you just kind of have to go, all right.
Okay. But I do like that they put it in the time before satellite imaging because...
How are you
going to have an
island?
undiscovered island? Yes.
Right. Well, the other explanation is that it's surrounded by constant storms, like the Bermuda Triangle or something.
You're still going to see it from above.
Yeah, I suppose satellite imagery would still see it.
But then we have the return of Monarch, and my first thing was, I had a Indiana Jones moment where I'm like, oh, I hate these guys. They're idiots.
I don't know. I didn't feel that way.
They're never prepared. Okay, I like John Goodman, but Monarch itself.
I think that was what it was. I like John Goodman enough to forgive the fact that Monarch, but I also just saw them as they were underfunded. They were the underdogs. They needed to win.
They always act like they have the answers when they have no clue what they're doing.
Well, that's just your standard person in charge. They can't admit that they're wrong because then they'd have to admit that they didn't know something. A man in charge cannot say, I don't know.
So I did like the fact when they brought in Handsome Man, James Conrad, who's played by Tom Hiddleston, they broke the smarmy Brit stereotype. If you look at it 9 times out of 10, if you have from a Hollywood movie, if you have an American actor and a British actor and they're using their own, they're using their own accents.
The fact that he was kind of a rougher British.
But still, usually the Brit is going to be the villain. Almost always.
Yeah.
Think about it. In Star Wars, all of the guys in the Empire have a British accent. They refer to it as the smarmy Brit.
Okay, I see what you're saying here, and I agree.
So they broke the stereotype.
I also like that Tom Hiddleston got to play the good guy in this one.
He was great.
He was fantastic. It really, I think, got to show his range outside of just being Loki.
Which is what Americans know him for. He's done a lot of other things.
He has. So this was a good one for him to kind of, stretch his acting chops, and he did great at it.
And in this one, he's much more heroic.
Well, he's hesitant to fight. He does not want to do.
No. He's the tracker. He's not a fighter.
Yeah. He's also.
He's originally from the British military. He's really from the British military, who becomes a mercenary, but he's been hired to be the tracker.
Yeah. Now, at this point in the movie, I'm still thinking King Kong.
Yes.
From 1933. And so I'm looking for the bones of that story in here, and we can kind of see it. John Goodman's Monarch is playing the director guy who's trying to put this whole thing together.
Right.
Tom Hiddleston's character is playing... He's kind of playing the first mate character. He's obviously a handsome guy.
Yes.
And then about the same time, Brie Larson's character comes in.
She's Pretty Lady.
She is not, though.
But she's not helpless, Pretty Lady.
She is never helpless. She is never the damsel in distress. And she does not ever fall for Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy and Pretty Girl in this movie do not have a thing for each other.
No, not at least
ever.
In this movie.
And the other thing that this movie doesn't have is a human connection between the monkey and any human character.
He's not specifically, he doesn't go after Mae West.
No.
He doesn't go after any of that.
He doesn't go after Brie Larson. There are a couple of scenes where he sees her and doesn't immediately attack. There is a
because
scene where
she never
reaches
attacks
out,
him.
Right, and there's a scene where she reaches out and there's almost a connection.
Because she's willing to give him a chance.
Yes.
Where a lot of other people are like, giant ape, kill it.
Yes. Well, especially Samuel Jackson. Tom Hiddleston was a little bit reserved, but a couple of scenes where she's there, he's also being
he's like okay.
Yeah.
If he hasn't attacked her, She might be onto something.
I mean,
she
also,
might be on
at this range, if he does decide to attack her, ain't nothing we can do.
But I do like the fact that that handsome man was willing to give pretty girl the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I was
like, thank you.
Story. But that lack of a human
connection
with the monkey, I think, did not do this movie any service. I will say right now, I did not, even on this rewatching, the first time I watched this movie, it was almost entirely forgettable. The second time, now that I've watched it again and took notes and paid attention, I still don't have I know that you like this. I know that you like this movie, and we are going to put this in very different places on the list.
Are.
But I didn't love this movie to the point that when we see this King Kong again, and it's supposed to be this King Kong, and he's much older.
Yeah, because he's the last one.
I don't think of him as the same character.
Yeah, at this point, they believe, the natives of the island believe Kong is the last one.
And of course,
he's the last one on the island at the time, but
and
they address that later.
the last one on the surface, but
we don't know that.
We don't know that yet until 3 movies down the road. So, in the end, I think that it was that lack of a human connection that did not allow me to have empathy with King Kong in this one. That said, love the human characters, love John C. Reilly, love Tom Hiddleston, didn't hate Brie Larson, did hate Samuel Jackson.
You're supposed to!
But you're supposed to, so good job, guy. And even then, I almost felt a little bit sympathetic towards him.
You did, because he's not been able, he's been a soldier for so long, he is unable to assimilate into the civilian. Actually, I thought of him very much as Captain Ahab.
Yes.
In Moby Dick.
Yes. Absolutely. I had that same thought.
Because he's got this fighting mindset that he just can't get past.
Nope. And then it's going to kill him.
Yeah, and then when he finds a target.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, when he finds a target that he wants revenge on, he won't let it go. Even when it is given, he's given absolute proof why this is, letting it go is a good thing. He can't.
There is a scene in this where Tom Hiddleston's character is telling him, this is dumb. Everybody else is telling him, this is dumb.
Even his cohorts are telling him, this is dumb.
And he's like, are you going to stop following orders? And his soldiers who are around him are like, well, no, we're going to follow orders, but this is still,
we're still going to tell you it's dumb.
We're still going to tell you it's dumb within the structure of what we've got, but at the same time, we're going to follow orders. So he absolutely had an opportunity to back down that he should have taken, and he didn't. I 100% was thinking Ahab the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, it's Moby Dick.
Yes, and in that sense,
and he's the Great White Whale.
Yeah. So, all right. So where are we at? So they okay.
So they start. They get onto the island because Brooks wants to confirm his theories of the Hollow Earth.
This was a fantastic scene. Samuel Jackson got to chew the set as they're flying in on their helicopters with Ride of the Valkyries. Why the heck did they have speakers on a helicopter in a storm, but they had speakers on a helicopter in a storm? And he was sitting there going, when Icarus flew up to the sun, his wings melted, but, the United States military did not give us wings of wax. He gave us wings of steel. It was
It was a really cool moment.
Buddy, this was your moment, and you took it. So thank goodness for Samuel Jackson.
It's probably the speakers were already there. They did know about the storm, but it was a brilliant moment.
Trope of Vietnam that they played a lot of American music over there, which they didn't because you did not want to have.
Here I am, shoot me!
Yeah, exactly. But it has kind of become a trope of it, and they were kind of playing into that. Was it Ride of the Valkyries that they were? I don't remember what they were. No, I think they were playing something else. But nevertheless, Samuel Jackson.
It felt very Ride of the Valkyries.
It felt very right. And then they come through the storm, and it also, just as Samuel Jackson finishes his soliloquy, they come through the storm, and it's all calm inside. And there's Skull Island, and they land, and they start doing their experiments. And sure enough,
they set off explosions.
They drop
seismic explosions.
They drop really cool missiles from the helicopter. They do. What it is.
But as I'm watching this, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to check this.
Except it is revealed later that Monarch's goal was to get the attention of Kong. And they knew that the explosions would
do it. That would get my attention.
Yeah. So, he suspected that there was a monster there, and the best way to get the monster's attention is make a lot of noise, which is exactly what we were talking about. You don't want to have the speakers in Vietnam. You don't want to set off bombs if there is a monster, except nobody else believed there was a monster. So that was his quick way to root him out.
So he's like, and we're doing it for the seismic activity. See, we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And it did reveal that there was a hollow Earth. Wow, I'd sure like to know more about that in 2 movies. Because they don't mention it again. They're just like, oh, the Earth is hollow. And the John C. Reilly's character names the monsters that King Kong is fighting. But we don't see those yet.
No, he calls them the skull crawlers.
He calls them the skull crawlers, and it's established that they're crawling up through these hollow Earth tubes. And that's all that the Hollow Earth gets in this movie.
Pretty much. And I remember going, okay, how come there's an island then? Because where's the magma coming from?
Yeah, exactly.
But, I'm weird like that.
No, don't think too hard about it. But we don't get to do much with it because King Kong shows up.
Kong shows up, throws a fit. Can't blame him. They're blowing up his island.
He's slapping down helicopters like they're dragonflies.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Dragonfly, bam! But so because of that, they break Dungeons & Dragons rule number 1, which is don't split the party.
Yes.
They split the party.
Well, they don't split the party intentionally. It's not like, you go left, you go right. It's just only a couple of them in each helicopter survived, and King Kong did not do very good at making them all land at the same place.
Which is, but at the same point, instead of, rendezvousing. Now, they didn't have working radio. But
there was one of them with a radio. Yeah. And it was a big backpack radio.
Yeah, it was a big military radio.
As was the style at the time.
But, so, half of them, with Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson, that group, they decide to go to the meetup point, which is what most people would do.
Yes.
But Samuel L. Jackson's group, because he's missing his second in command.
Right. He's missing one dude who he uses as an excuse to go back.
Yeah.
And this later on in the movie, we find out Chapman's dead. We find his dog tags on a skull that's coughed up by one of the
skull crawlers.
And so it's clear, but Samuel L. Jackson is still like, well, we still have to go back because that's where we have the explosives. So it was never about his first
No,
name.
Of course not. He just uses it as the excuse.
That's just where it's revealed.
So the other seismic problem is it woke up the skull crawlers.
Now, there is a scene in here where we see this giant buffalo. So Skull Island is apparently home to more than just giant monkeys and skull crawlers, but it is also home to very large buffalo monsters with huge antlers and stuff like that.
And, it would have to be to support all of the carnivores.
Yes, and it kind of establishes that not everything on this island is trying to kill us, which is big difference from the original King Kong.
The locals are not cannibals.
No, that's true. But in the original King Kong, everything was trying to kill everything. And everything was eating everything, and it was just a constant fight for survival. But here we've got these very large...
Yeah, but we've got, the iconic
buffaloes.
Fight with the T-Rex, and if you're going to have an iconic fight with the T-Rex, you got to have something that T-Rex can eat.
Yeah.
And even if Kong is not per se a carnivore, we don't know. They don't establish that really. You don't see him eating anyone.
Not in this movie. He does eat in Godzilla X King Kong.
Yeah.
But it's a sea creature that he eats. Yeah. I mean, is seafood really meat? I mean, that's a big debate among,
Anyway.
I don't know. I suspect that he eats whatever the heck he can put in his mouth,
Exactly. So he's more omnivorous. Yeah. But there's got to be enough on the island to support these giant creatures, and you're not going to have that unless you have giant herbivores.
And so we have this moment now where after he swatted down all the helicopters, now suddenly King Kong's not the bad guy, except to Samuel Jackson. But when we see him again, he's passive.
He's swatted them down because they're waking up the skull crawlers, and that's what he doesn't want.
I support that. It's never said in the movie that is his intent, but I support that idea. Yeah.
Well, and when Group A with Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson meet up with the local tribe and they explain a lot of things.
Right.
They explain that Kong is the only one left. He's a baby. He's an adolescent. And
he's the one keeping the real monsters.
Yeah,
at bay.
and his family died taking care of most of the skull crawlers. The rest of them are in hibernation or whatever, and stasis underground.
So yeah, we get
and Kong is keeping the big bad one from coming up.
Right, which makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense why he would want the helicopters, which were potentially going to rile up the big bad.
And they were dropping the bombs. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shut up.
I think that is a good read on the situation. So we find a tribe of natives that, one, are very Asian looking, which is, two, very old, and three, don't talk. They all kind of are, I don't know. It's established in later movies that they're kind of psychic.
Yeah.
But that's not been established here, other than when John C. Reilly. So we meet John C. Reilly as well.
Yes, the World War II American pilot has been on this place, for 29 years.
Yeah. And he's doing a little bit of Castaway.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of funny.
Except that he wasn't alone. He was with all these... But it was
But no one to talk to.
Yeah.
But he talks about Ikari, who was the Japanese pilot, mentions that they became friends before he was eaten by a skull crawler.
Oh, that's right.
I was like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah. And it's funny because all of that established, we never see this character, we never see any of that, and yet you go... Oh,
they became friends, and then he got eaten.
Yeah,
friends enough that he was given the sword.
I also like the scene where John C. Reilly is looking at the Americans, and he's talking to the Americans, and he says, "You guys are more beautiful than a game on the television and a warm hot dog in your hand." And he's staring at his hand like he's looking at a hot dog.
Imagining this hot dog going just.
And then he looks at them and he goes, "But you guys are real." And like for that moment, you realize. Oh, he was seeing the hot dog.
He was hallucinating that hot dog.
He's been seeing hot dogs in his hands for a while. The poor guy, but it also establishes like what he wants.
Yeah.
When he gets out of this situation.
Oh man.
And
he just wants the simple things.
We're gonna jump ahead. He gets it.
I was so happy.
He survived during the credits.
Man,
he sits there watching the game with a hot dog.
If he had died in this movie, it's like killing the dog in the movie. Yes. I would have flipped tables.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would have gone on Hulk smash.
It was a choice that they could have made that I'm
so
grateful
glad
they didn't.
I'm so glad they didn't. Because, he became kind of the mascot. You loved him.
Yeah, and he was wonderful.
So, you find out that Chapman was red shirt number 1 to the skull crawler.
Yeah.
So
was this? No, this was after. He's got a boat.
He does have a boat.
Kind of. Well,
he's cobbled together the 2 downed airplanes into a boat.
And this boat has a lot of moving parts.
It's really cool.
It has a lot of opportunities for turn that thing, move that thing, pull that lever, pull that.
Yeah, it was like.
Have you seen
the TARDIS?
Have you? Yes, it's very much like the kinetic energy, like the TARDIS. Have you seen the movie Waterworld?
Yes.
In Waterworld, all of the boats are pull that thing, pull that lever, turn that thing, crank that crank, and it's all kinetic, and I love it. I do enjoy it.
It's definitely cobbled together, and you just got to do whatever you got to do.
Yes.
But I definitely.
I also like.
Definitely saw the 10th Doctor going, grab that over there. It's not meant to be flown by one person. He's holding it up with his foot.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that. And then also when they're leaving their town, they have the wall. They have the King Kong wall.
They have the King Kong wall and the gate, and it was really cool.
Except this gate has a garage door opener.
I know. It was the best.
A bunch of slats are just kind of pulled up on it, and they go in kind of a sine wave, and he goes in, and then they go out through it, and I'm like, what would it take to build a garage door that does that? Because that's I want one.
I know, right? Someone needs to capitalize on this idea.
Also, the soundtrack in this movie, I have a note here at this point. The soundtrack in this movie was really good. It was really good. And then as they're going in the boat, they meet the Chainsaw Man birds.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was watching. I'm like, suddenly I'm watching Resident Evil.
Yeah. Now this...
And that's where you get Neves, or not. I can't remember how to say his name. He was red shirt number 2, and he biffed it to the birds.
And this was a moment in this movie where my opinion of it dropped a little bit. Because when the Chainsaw Man birds came and swooped him up, and then Tom Hiddleston is sitting there with a sniper rifle, and he decides not to take the shot because, first of all...
He didn't see Hamilton.
First of all, he decided not to take the shot because he couldn't get a clear shot without killing the dude.
Yeah.
And then he decided not to put the dude out of his misery, and he just put down the gun and he went, well, that guy never existed. And there's Corey Hawkins' character is like going, are you kidding me? And everybody else is like, nope, seriously. It reminded me, okay, have you seen Batman Begins? No, was it Batman Begins, the Batman movie with Heath Ledger Joker?
Yes.
Okay. And in that movie, people are dying. They're in these boardrooms. The scene where the Joker does the pencil trick and slams the dude, and everybody watches a dude die, and nobody flinches. It made it less human to me, and it was the reason why I didn't like that movie. In this case, all of these people,
I think
we got one person flinching, but it wasn't enough for me.
I think part of it is you've got some of the bystanders are just in shock.
Yeah, there's a lot of shock going on.
And you don't want to draw attention to yourself, especially in the Joker scene. If I flinch, she's going to look at me next.
It's also because in the Joker scene, the reason why they don't flinch is because all of them are so used to death.
It's Gotham.
Life has no meaning.
Yeah, it's Gotham.
That message didn't jive well with me, and that's why that movie didn't jive well with me. Now, I agree with you. In this case, it is a case of they are all just... We are in over our heads, and we got two options.
Yeah, we don't want the birds to come back. Yeah, we don't want the birds to come back, and we don't want... And if this guy's saying... I can't do it. There's nothing we can't do it. There's nothing we can do to help this guy.
But it was also so random. Like the bird just swooped down, grabbed him out of everybody else, but nobody else got grabbed.
Red shirt.
100% a red shirt moment. It was 100% a moment of like, we just need somebody to die, and he didn't do anything stupid.
No,
he didn't do anything. Had John Goodman's character? Is John Goodman's character alive at this point? Because John Goodman's character dies later. He
dies.
No, he died before this point.
Yeah.
But again, it was another...
He was. I have him written down as Skullcrawler food number 2.
Yeah. And it was a case of...
I was sad John Goodman died because he's John Goodman.
First of all, he was a great character.
Yeah.
But he had a moment where he was like, oh, crap, I stood in the wrong place. He recognized that he had screwed up, and it made his death like... Oh, like, okay, yes, I see that. But this was meaningless. It wasn't because he screwed up. He wasn't sitting too far out on the pro. He was just standing in the right
place at the wrong time.
It wasn't even that. Everybody else was in the wrong place, too. The bird just randomly chose, you're going to die, but the rest of you will live.
Maybe he had extra meat on his bones.
Maybe that was it.
I felt so bad for Sunlin, the character Sunlin.
The Asian girl.
Yes, because her part was actually supposed to be quite a bit bigger, and it just got narrowed down to the point she referred to herself as a Ming vase. Very pretty, doesn't do anything.
Yeah. She was not bad in the movie, but I agree with her assertion of this. Okay, one of the scientist character was played by a actor named Mark Evan Jackson.
There he is.
He has got a very good voice.
Yes, he does.
Okay, I know him because there's a podcast that I listen to called The Thrilling Adventure Hour. Sparks, Nevada, Marshall on Mars. He's the title character of his section. And
I was like, I haven't listened to it. I've just heard of it.
Yes. He is Sparks, Nevada, Marshall on Mars. And that voice is Sparks, Nevada, Marshall on Mars. I'm from Earth. And Mark Evan Jackson plays this scientist. This is the character that when they were all together, all the army guys were like, hey, we're scientists. And he's like, you guys aren't scientists.
No, you're not. Yeah.
This is the guy
It's like, thanks, not nice for trying. No.
Yeah, this is the guy who Samuel L. Jackson, when they all get back together, he's like, are you going to be sitting on the sidelines? And he goes, I don't want to sit on the sidelines. It goes with Samuel L. Jackson, which is, of course, the point.
The bad idea.
Yeah, the bad idea that leads to his demise. I wanted Mark Evan Jackson to survive
because I love Mark Evan Jackson. Why did I not realize that was Miyavi?
Which one?
I didn't realize that was Miyavi.
The Gunpei Econ, which one was that in the movie? Man.
He was one of the Islanders.
He was one of the Islanders?
Yeah.
Well,
he's a big J-pop sensation.
They were in a lot of makeup.
Yeah, they were.
A lot of makeup in that.
I'm like, why didn't I realize that? But
so they had a J-pop guy on the island as one of the Islanders. That's awesome. I
was like, why did I not realize that? Because he was in a lot of makeup.
He wasn't the old guy, was he? With the shaved head. Mm-hmm. Well, they all had shaved heads. He probably had shaved head in that one. All right, so where are we at in the movie now?
So we've got to the mass grave.
Yes.
Which in the bones, the dinosaur bones, you can definitely tell they're dinosaur bones. We've all seen Jurassic Park.
And there's also the bones of Kong's parents.
But Kong's family, and which shows you how much bigger they can get.
That's true. That's true. They were kind of a bigger scale. And lots of sulfur, so all of the explosions
smelly.
Explode really big.
Yes, which was really cool.
And that was a scene that was simultaneous, like the first time that they were like, this is a really bad idea, we should not do this. We're going to do this. Okay, man. It was before the big, like, you can go do this, we are going to go do something else. But it was the beginning of, like, this dude is making the bad choices,
this
you know?
is bad news,
Yeah. And I will say, the skull crawler is a cool idea.
It's a cool concept.
It's a beak that looks like a skull. Its eyes are a little bit further behind. Like, the design for it was cool, but I don't like the two-legged movement of it.
That was really strange.
It just didn't feel...
It was really strange.
It felt weightless.
And I think part of it, they were designing it to be believable that it could go underground and dig and whatever.
Yeah.
But and wasn't actually meant to be on the surface a whole lot. But at the same point, it still had this really odd movement to it that didn't quite show the weight of the actual being.
Yeah, it looked CG because it was CG, but it looked.
And I would like to say, hey, it's early, but if they can do that in and harkening back to Jurassic Park, when they can watch the dinosaur move and you can see its skin shift as it shifts its weight and things, and you believe it's really there. And they did it with Godzilla. Same people did it with Godzilla earlier. All right, so they have the massive grave, and then they meet up again. And Samuel L. Jackson's Lieutenant Colonel, excuse me, don't want to deny the bird.
Yeah.
He wants revenge against the giant ape for all of his dead guys.
Right, and it's during that mass grave moment that they find the dog tag in the skull that establishes that the person who he was trying to rescue is fully...
the skull crusher just kind of spits it out.
Skull crawler food at this point.
Skull crusher. I'm tired.
Like, it's convenient that the skull crawler doesn't digest the skull, that he can just spit it out so that we can have that exposition there. But that's okay. The skull crawler delivered exposition that established that Samuel Jackson's character was...
Well, yeah, but at the same point, he blames Kong for all of it, where half the deaths were done by skull crawlers, which we woke up.
Yeah.
It's his human problem.
Yeah.
And they say to him, they actually try and talk him down.
Yeah, they're like, we should be focusing on this.
This is like
that.
super Ahab moment. This is super captive Ahab moment.
Yeah.
Where they're like, look, dude.
Yeah.
This is not what we need to be doing. It's our fault that the skull crawlers are... Yeah. I keep wanting to say crushers, and I know it's wrong. Skull crusher. I think that sounds like a wrestler. But anyway.
The skull crusher is a gun on the latest Doom. But
I haven't seen it, but okay. But they're like, even his other soldiers are like, no, let's just get off the island.
Yeah, exactly.
We've proven this thing is here. We've got proof of it.
We can get help, and he's like, we don't need help. We need explosives, and we got explosives over there.
It's like, I don't need help. I need ammo. You know, you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
If you've played Mass Effect, it was a total grunt moment.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't need luck. I got ammo. But he cannot be talked down.
No.
And it's all Kong's fault. It doesn't matter any situational.
Yep.
No, it's got to be Kong's fault. Kong's got to die.
Right.
And so he starts, he gets his explosives. He tells his soldiers, are you going to follow orders or are you going to listen to Yahoo over there?
Right.
And they're like, okay, we're going to follow orders.
And Tom Hiddleston is like, hey, listen, these guys are civilians.
Yeah.
And technically so am I.
Yeah, because he's no longer with them.
We are going to go to the extraction point. We'll meet you there.
It's
fully knowing he ain't going to meet him there.
He's like, we understand that you got the kind of crazy that isn't going to be talked down. So we're just going to get away from the blast zone.
Exactly. Now, it should be mentioned, though, they don't.
No.
They come back. Not that they come back, but their paths end up bringing them back to
it.
That. Actually, I think don't they decide that they have to rescue King Kong from?
They do. They have to.
Jackson.
They have to rescue Kong because they're like, you know what? This is none of this is his fault, and he's actually protected us. He's tried to keep us quiet when we were waking up the skull crawlers. He tried to,
And Samuel
he's
Jackson,
reacting as an animal.
Yeah, and Samuel Jackson and Mark Evan Jackson and the grunts do
Poor
capture.
Grunts. They do.
They do capture King Kong.
They use more of the seismic blasts to bring out King Kong.
Right.
And
they have a flamethrower.
They use napalm.
how long have they had a flamethrower? That could have been useful.
I actually wrote this. I wrote, oh, good, napalm. Great idea. What could possibly go wrong?
Let's see. They've got King Kong down on the ground. They're putting explosives around King Kong. Now,
because they want him DED dead.
Yeah, they want him dead. And I don't remember how they fully knocked him out, but they beat King Kong.
Yep.
And then Tom Hiddleston and his group show back up.
Saying, no,
don't do this.
We talked to the natives. The natives say, bad idea.
Right. Here's the thing that I think is interesting. Samuel Jackson gets smashed. It's a great moment. Smush. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Oh, yeah. I actually said, what did I wrote it down? I said, Packard equals squish. Khan serves just desserts.
Yes. And now we've got the big Skull Crusher.
Yeah, which comes up.
Skull Crawler. You got me doing it now.
It comes up out of the lake a la Dragon Age Veilguard.
That's what ended up driving them to King Kong. Yeah. They're like, oh, the big one's out. We need to get the
we got to, because the only thing that can stop it is. Yeah. But the reveal out of the lake was cool. Was very, very cool. It reminded me of several moments in cinema, and I most recently have played Dragon Age Veilguard, and you have a giant dragon come out the same way, and I was like, see, they liked it so much they put it in the new video game.
I see a problem, though. They got all these explosives placed around King Kong to blow him up. They end up not using them because, the detonator gets squished with Samuel Jackson. But they still have explosives, and they don't use it on the Skullcrawler Mama. Why?
Because she's not holding still long enough?
Yeah, I guess so.
They don't have a way to shoot it anymore.
Yeah, I guess so. But even so, I feel like there should have been a moment of... hey, we've got all these explosives. Let's lure the Skullcrawler into the explosives and then detonate them. And no, the explosives, Chekhov's explosives, were never seen again.
Nope.
But
missed opportunity. They've also established that the explosives are going to attract more Skullcrawlers.
Well, that's true too. But if you're killing the big one was the one that you were trying to keep down.
It's true. But the little ones are still causing havoc. I mean, come on. How many red shirts have they eaten now?
There we have a really good fight with King Kong and the Skullcrawler. Cool. And one thing that I didn't realize, do you have anything before the killing blow?
Let's see. No, what I wrote was BBMG, big, bad, massive guy. Big bad monster guy, excuse me. The Skullcrawler is only defeated by man and nature working together.
So... what ended up defeating him is he tries to swallow King Kong's fist, and King Kong pulls
Everything likes to swallow Kong's fist. Right? Do you notice?
And King Kong just muscles his arm out and pulls his guts out through his tongue, which I'm not sure that's how it's all attached, but never mind.
It is in fish.
The thing that I did not realize at the time was that Brie Larson's character was in the fist. It wasn't until the second rewatching that I realized he was trying to protect her in his hand and had his fist closed. And so the Skullcrawler was trying to swallow her. So much for the whole, nature doesn't go for a blonde. It's going for a blonde again in this movie, but then
But it's the bad guy nature.
Sure. But then, he pulls the whole Skullcrawler's guts out through his tongue, and that's what ends the fight with Brie Larson in the palm of Godzilla or King Kong, where Godzilla was not in this movie.
No. But it is another way that they establish that some of the monsters will protect humans. Yeah, like as we didn't talk about, but we could have in the Godzilla movie, when Godzilla comes up, his really cool reveal by the Golden Gate Bridge, and he saves the kids.
Right.
Might have been inadvertently, but he does save
but it was
the
still
kids
that moment of hero of the people.
Yes, because you had a school bus on the bridge, and here come these
Army fighters or Navy or
whatever
something firing missiles,
and they're
he takes the missiles.
Yeah, he takes the missiles and protects the bridge. Because they were trying to hit the Mutos, and that's when he happens to pop his head up and he takes the shot.
Yeah, and collateral damage with civilians.
Yep.
There were people on the bridge saying, "Don't do this, don't do." But yes, it was that reveal of King Kong popping up to be the hero of the people in that moment. And in this movie, there is just ever so slightly that human connection that he's like, I want to save this tiny little human. Yeah. And that ends up being the thing that
catalysts into the next movies.
Right, that we end this whole thing on.
So you do get, they make it to the extraction point, they get off, and they take Marlowe with them.
Yes.
Yay! And after 29 years,
he returns to
his wife. He goes to a baseball game and he gets to eat a hot dog.
He doesn't go to it, but he sits at home.
Oh, he sits at home, which is what he wants.
Watching it on TV.
And he's so comfortable, and he's just like loving this hot dog.
Just a feel-good moment.
He was so happy.
They had the setup. They had the payoff. It felt good. And
his family was so happy to find him because, he wasn't listed as dead necessarily.
I also kind of like that when he goes to his family, we didn't see like husband number 2 peek his head around the corner and go, "Who's this?"
That would have been bad.
She waited for him.
It was happily ever after. It was happily ever after.
And the other thing is,
and he gets to meet his son, which he didn't know he had.
That's true. But at one point in the movie, he even says, "Listen, I don't even care if she's forgotten about me, if she's moved on with her life. That's fine.
It's been 29 years. I don't expect her."
Yeah. Right. And so even if she had remarried, I think that still would have been a good moment of him to say, "Hey, listen,
I didn't abandon you.
Be happy." Yeah. And that's fine.
And I get to meet my son.
And I get to meet my son and eat a hot dog.
He got to have.
As far as we know, we don't ever revisit this character. We don't ever revisit that storyline.
Well, because all the rest of the movies are later in the timeline.
Yeah.
So I also did that. And then the credits start. And like a Marvel movie, we have to have the middle of the credit
scene.
It was amazing. So they have,
it's the Monarch Monsterverse setup.
Yeah. So Monarch is recruiting Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson.
Yeah.
And they say there's more out there, and they show this old cave painting of it has Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah.
Yes. Quite the setup for a lot of things. You've entered a bigger world than you know. Hey, wasn't that Samuel Jackson's? Oh no, he's not here anymore.
He's not here anymore. And then you just see Godzilla and Ghidorah fighting.
Yes, which was great setup, which was great establishing the monsterverse.
There's more.
I will say, first of all, it was ambitious of them to try to set up a MonsterVerse, but they
were trying to take notes off of Marvel.
Everybody is at this point.
Yeah, it was working.
It was working. I think that they have not cashed in on this like they should have.
They could have, yeah.
Because what have we had since then? Since then, we've had King Kong. Well, we've had two more Godzilla movies.
Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And then we had Godzilla, hold on for a second.
Versus King Kong. Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong.
Let me see. Godzilla, King, yep, that's right. So we have had one more Godzilla alone movie. Mm-hmm. We have had Godzilla and King Kong.
Against each other.
And Godzilla King and King Kong also against each other mostly.
But they hate the other guy more.
Right. We have not had individual movies.
We have not had a Mothra movie. We have not had a Ghidorah movie.
We haven't had it. Yeah. Exactly. We have not had a chance for
and
these
I think
other
they're
monsters.
Trying to establish that these are the good monsters and these are the bad monsters, except Mothra, who is a good monster but didn't get her own.
Didn't get her own thing. She just got a reveal in I think she got a reveal in 2 other movies. Like she got revealed twice. Plus, in Godzilla X King Kong, he's going around and like hunting down other monsters so he can level up to face whatever he needs to face in the future. Like, these monsters should have had their own movies. They should have had an opportunity to establish themselves so that they're being killed by King Kong or Godzilla would mean something.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and maybe this is just a case of the movies aren't doing well enough to justify those additional movies, and they're just doing what works, or maybe they just have no imagination. Or
they don't think that there's going to be the draw for that particular monster.
So don't spend as much money on that movie and give people a cheap...
I will say, when they were leaving from the extraction point and they turn and look back and you can kind of see, and you see Kong and watching them leave, part of the hokey me wanted to see Kong wave.
Yes. No, I had the exact same thought. I was going to say this, and King Kong waved. Nice. No, he didn't.
He didn't. But you thought. Okay, so I do have a few notes.
Okay.
So the original poster that was released when they announced it, which was at San Diego Comic-Con 2014.
I don't remember this.
That was when they first announced that it was coming out, with San Diego Comic-Con 2014. The original poster was really cool.
Okay.
So you have Kong in a very silhouette in the back.
Okay.
And then, and you've got...
Oh, was this the one that it looked like...
And you've got the island.
Yeah.
And then in the very front, you have soldiers in a wedge formation. Think the Korean War Memorial.
It very much looked like a soldier movie.
Yeah, and you have the kilos
monkey
and everything.
Yeah.
So it established the time setting without saying a word.
So I do remember this poster, and
it was really cool.
It
was interesting that you knew Samuel L. Jackson was in the movie, you knew Brie Larson was in the movie, but they really
Brie Larson really wasn't.
She wasn't huge at the time. She hadn't done. She'd done a few things. But she hadn't won her Oscar for Room yet. She hadn't done a lot of those things. But she had... Yes, did you know it has an animated series?
There was a Kong...
Oh, look, there's the map.
Yeah, there was a Kong the animated series.
That came out in 2023.
Except that it followed the 1933 movie.
It did.
Not
Even
this
though they
movie.
called it Skull Island.
Yeah.
So, but...
Well, Skull Island was what it was called in the 33 movie, too.
The set was... Well, no, it was called the island was called Skull Island, but it was Kong Skull Island.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was really cool that they brought in that time period just with a visual.
That's true, and it looked like a Korean War movie poster.
Yeah, or a Vietnam Korean. Yeah, we're going through the jungle.
Yeah. Except giant monkey.
Yeah, in the back.
He was standing like a soldier.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Great.
It was
movie
a
poster.
really, really cool poster.
Yeah.
And it actually was a box office success, which they were not sure it would be.
No.
The budget for it was $185 million.
Okay.
And it grossed $569 million. So it made bank for the studio.
I would say between us, the reviews were mixed, but apparently the public liked it.
Yes.
If I hadn't watched it again, I could not have
it.
told you a thing about it. In fact, I forgot that John Goodman was in it. I forgot that John C. Reilly was in it. I forgot a lot of this movie. If I had not watched it again, it made no impact on me. But I recognize that I am not in the majority here. So
I
that's all
really
right.
liked it. I was entertained. There wasn't a lot of... I mean... We're watching a monster movie, let's be honest here. Yeah. It's a kaiju movie.
Yeah.
So, of course, I've got to suspend my disbelief.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same point, there wasn't so much that I could not suspend my disbelief over it. I never hit a point of, other than there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
I never hit a point of, nah.
That's true. They kept it fairly grounded, and I did enjoy it.
I mean, all of the technology that they used was appropriate for that era.
Yeah, they weren't pulling out the laser shooters.
They didn't have any modern slang in there.
Yeah.
The cost. I'm a big costume freak. The
costumes were appropriate.
Very appropriate.
Yeah.
Even the fabrics were right.
Yeah.
Which.
Well, we're not so
make
far
me
removed.
Twitch.
Yeah, we're not so far removed from that time that we can't do that. But yes, they did that. Well, let's talk about rankings here. So
you're going to put it way lower than I am.
Hold on for 1 second. I'm looking at my list, and there's definitely A tier, B tier, and C tier. Here's where I think that we're going to diverge here. I'm going to put this solidly in the B tier. I'm looking at somewhere between Mothra versus Godzilla and King Kong 2014. You know what? I am going to go ahead and put it above Gamera 1995.
So after Mothra.
After Mothra versus Godzilla. It could, I'm going to put it just above Mothra versus Godzilla. Mothra versus Godzilla is bumping down
So
one.
Jack Black, King Kong, and then this one.
And then Kong Skull Island. I kind of don't like that they're that close.
I'm going to put it after Pacific Rim, but before King Kong versus Godzilla.
After Pacific Rim. You like Pacific Rim more than this, huh?
I did.
Okay.
And just, like you said, there were more memorable moments in Pacific Rim than there were for this one. But I was still entertained. I still loved it. I thought the cast came together beautifully.
So I think this is the first movie that you're putting it in the A tier.
It's at the bottom of my A tier.
I'm putting it in the B tier.
Yep, and you're putting it toward the bottom of your B tier.
Mid
B tier.
This movie for me was thoroughly mid. And I watched this with my sons, and I asked them what they thought afterwards, and they were like,
Our next one is going to be...
Yes. We get to watch Pacific Rim
sequel.
2. Yes, the sequel to Pacific Rim that I can give you guys a little preview for how we're going to rank this one. Sarah is going to fall asleep watching it. And I am going to rank it lower mid. I mean, I already know, I've already seen it, but I'm willing to watch it again. Actually, you haven't watched it.
I have not.
There is at least one thing that I am excited to discuss with you then. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. If you enjoy our little conversations, we would love for you to engage with this podcast, like, comment, leave a review, do all the things to make the algorithm happy. But that is it for this episode. I'm Joe.
And I am Sarah.
And we invite you to do some shelf examination of your own at your local library.
Thank you for listening.